Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.
Welcome back to Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates. Tonight's guest is Mr. Bill Dolan, newly re-elected town board member, being sworn in on the 18th of this month.
That's what Sam Morlino's office sent us a letter out yesterday, or I received mine yesterday.
Okay. And in fact, I understand that you guys are going to be sworn in on a limited term?
From talking to Sam, they're only under direction of the district attorney, Brian Kunze. She has been told to only swear Amy Riches and I in for 2 years, even though we were elected to a 4-year board. Now, understanding that one NRS, Nevada Revised Statute, governs the term limits to 4 years, while yet another NRS that the county has authority over to dissolve that form of government will, if left stand after all the lawyers and the court action gets done, would limit us to 2 years.
A 2-year term, so it means that your term would be from January 1st of 2013 through December 31st of 2014. Then at that point, whatever the interpretation says kind of dictates what's going to happen.
Correct.
Okay. So, knowing that we've got 2 years to work, being that this is your second go at it, what's on the agenda? What's the most important items right now that you see the next 2 years you need to get pushed forward?
Well, there's several things. It is the town board's responsibility to direct Mr. Kobarger, who then in turn directs staff. And I have already created Mr. Kobarger's goals and objectives from my aspect. That is just one town board member. There are 5 town board members who put directives forward for him, and we all vote on them collectively.
Right.
One of the big things that I want Mr. Kobarger to work on is a town resolution, and that is dealing with, I've heard through this campaign cycle and heard different businesses in town say we're too small. We can't compete when a request for a proposal goes out on a new item.
Okay.
That they can't compete with Las Vegas or other large cities, outside of the area. So I'd like Mr. Kobarger to work on creating a 10% bid preference to locally owned businesses. On the other hand, being a disabled American veteran myself, this comes straight out of Washington for all municipalities, towns, cities, counties, states to work with the veterans that are coming home from the 2 conflicts that we've been involved in over the last several years. And I would like to see a 15% bid preference for veteran locally owned businesses.
Compounded with the 10%?
No, they could use one or the other.
Okay.
And I think that will give them enough of a leg up to be able to compete against companies in Las Vegas. And I think I will be able to convince my other colleagues on the board that this is the right thing to do. Let's start keeping the money here as much as we can and giving them this preference.
Do you have a ballpark idea as far as RFPs being filled by, say, firms in whatever category, firms in Las Vegas versus local firms versus, say, out-of-state firms? Because it seems to me, from the layperson's perspective, that it seems a lot of these contracts are being awarded out-of-state.
And it's because they're larger companies, and they can lowball figures to get that added work. And let's pick on, there was a gentleman that appeared, I believe his first name was Mark, I won't go into his company without his knowledge of this, who deals in paper products.
Okay.
And he point blank said he cannot compete with the Las Vegas firms supplying those same paper products to the town of Pahrump. I understand we have had a long-standing contract with the company in Las Vegas. I have already asked Mr. Kobarger for a list of all contracts in the town of Pahrump, and he informed me there's over 400. And
wow.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at that myself. So I have asked him for a ledger of all the contracts, and then I'm going to go through and pick out what contracts I think are important that need to be addressed. And I think this is one of them. If the same company has had this bid for multiple years and it's just been renewed and renewed, I want to look at going back out to bid on this with hopefully this new town resolution in place to give people in town the opportunity to have a leg up.
Will you guys also offer incentives for businesses that will be able to, one, keep the money locally, as you know, is a cyclical economic benefit, but will you also offer some type of additional point system if they can create jobs within the community?
You know, I didn't think about that. I think that is something that we can address along with the resolution. The more people we can put back to work. This time last year, I took over running Family Care Home Health Agency here in town. And one of the caveats in my contract with the firm was that I had exclusivity to hire and fire. And that going into this, I wanted to hire all Pahrump residents to work for us. I am about 50% there. All of my nursing staff, every bit of my nursing staff is 100% Pahrump residents.
Wow.
They own property here, they are homeowners here, they live here, their kids go to school here. Within the healthcare industry, it's kind of hard to get the specialty folks. The ones that do live here in town are so busy, they can't take on any more work. But eventually I would like to get my social worker, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, all residents, so that we can say that we are 100% employing Pahrump residents.
I don't think it's a special problem that you have in the healthcare industry as far as with more of rural communities having specialists. In fact, it's addressed in almost every rural community, is how do you attract the highly specialized professionals, or vocationalists, I should say. Do you feel as if going back through this list as you review all these contracts, one, are you going to open up this list for public digest? And then two, how exactly do you expect to be able to attract, I should say, the people that are going to try to fulfill these contracts? Is there any way that you're going to have a tiered process, or maybe a prolonged bid term that they can, maybe bring people in for that procurement?
I think that's going to depend on the contract type itself. And I'll pick on one that was brought to my attention when I was on the board before, and I just could not get enough interest involved. And in the economy today, when we're pinching pennies and looking at how do we save money and not raise taxes on the community, I think it's very important to take some of these contracts. And I'll pick on copier contracts.
Okay.
When I was on the board before, we had a copier and a contract for building and grounds. We had one for the annex. We had one for the fire department. We had one for the town. Ridiculous. We need to look at combining these contracts into one to get us the best deal we can and save some money.
Sure.
That's the rationale for wanting to go through some of these contracts and see where can we combine, where can we get the best bang for the dollar. That is when the idea came up as far as the town to do a town resolution on giving incentives to locally owned businesses. Because you're right, let's keep the money here. Let's see if we can't, say this paper company, if they can hire 2 new people, because now they have a lot more work to do, that's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take our second commercial break. This is very interesting. We'll follow up this after this commercial break.
Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.
Lakeside Casino and RV Park, where we earn the best ratings for our RV park in North America with the most beautiful scenery and quiet surroundings. Our casino features the best gaming experience, entertainment that'll blow your mind, and come see the great changes in our buffet, all here at the Lakeside Casino and RV Park.
Here, you're talking about the public being able to address each agenda item as it's brought up, or is it
each
addressed?
action item.
Right. Versus before or after the
Versus
meeting.
the 2 public comments, correct.
Right. So going forward, is it your understanding that, again, the conversation would be held for each action item and a public address for as long as needed, even if that extends these meetings into 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, which was, another item of controversy, I guess.
And near the end here, I think that this last 8 to 6 months, I think they were doing much better on moving the meetings forward, keeping people on track, and that's very important. If the meetings go to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, so be it. However, That will be, the board will select its sitting officers, in other words, your chairman, your vice chairman, and your town clerk, the first meeting of January. It will be, at that point in time, up to the chairman how he or she wants to proceed with running the meetings. Now, does that mean that an agenda item can't be placed to change that, in the next
Right.
few meetings? Sure, it can be. But it will be at the will of the chairman for the first several meetings of how that meeting is ran.
Have you already identified issues that the public has brought to your attention, of course, pre-installation, but coming into the new year that you feel as if you're going to try and take the ball and run with them in the immediate?
Well, I reviewed all the past goals and objectives that are currently standing before the town manager now from the current sitting board. And I am particularly concentrated on Mr. Darby's and Ms. Parker's to see if there was any items on
Outgoing board members.
outgoing board members, any items on their goals and objectives that needed to be carried, that I felt needed to be carried forward. And I actually took one from each one of them. I have set meetings with both Ms. Parker and Mr. Darby, and one of the county commissioners that is outgoing, to sit down and talk with them.
Okay.
And learn from them and see if there's anything else that maybe they were working on behind the scenes that could be carried forward.
Mr. Dolan, I congratulate you on your reelection.
Thank you very much.
I wish you the best of luck coming into the new year. Enjoy your holiday, and if you want to give out any contact information for the public to take in today, if they need to contact you, do you want to give out?
Sure. My cell phone has never changed. It is 702-400-0190, and I've had that phone number for the better part of 20 years. My email address is bdolan@pahrump.nv.org.
All right. Mr. Dolan, happy holidays. Thanks for being on the show.
Merry Christmas.
Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Thursday, 5:30. See you then.
Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.